The central revelation in this new Arcturian transmission is that the event does far more than raise the vibration of Earth. It begins a much deeper separation of experience. According to the Arcturians, the same planetary shift reaches everyone, yet people do not experience what follows in the same way. The frequency each person can hold determines what version of Earth becomes available to them. This is why the message matters now. The collective is already showing signs of moving into very different realities, even while people continue sharing the same physical world. The Arcturians describe the event as a global arrival of higher frequency light that enters the planetary field and raises the vibration of Earth as a whole. The important point is that nobody stands outside this process. The rise reaches the entire human field. What changes is the way each consciousness responds to it. Two people can live in the same city, follow the same events, and still experience life through completely different energetic realities because their inner frequency is directing what they perceive and what they continue to resonate with. This gives us the first key to understanding the message. The event creates acceleration. It increases the strength of everything already forming within people. Someone who has been moving toward greater awareness begins to stabilize there much faster. Someone deeply attached to a denser state continues experiencing reality through that frequency until something inside them changes. The Arcturians are describing a world where consciousness becomes increasingly difficult to hide from. Your inner state starts shaping your lived reality with much greater precision. That helps explain why people can already feel so far apart from one another. Sometimes the difference has very little to do with intelligence or background. Two people can look at the same situation and genuinely experience two different worlds. According to this transmission, that distance grows because resonance is becoming a stronger organizing force. People naturally move toward relationships and environments that correspond to what they carry within themselves. Some connections deepen very quickly, while others lose their energetic foundation. The second major key is the higher Earth itself. The Arcturians are very clear that this higher Earth is already present. It exists as a finer layer within the greater planetary field, and human consciousness gradually gains access to it through resonance. This changes the whole idea of ascension. The higher Earth is not presented as a distant place that suddenly appears one day. It becomes perceptible as consciousness reaches the frequency where that reality can actually be experienced. That means some people enter this higher range sooner than others. The Arcturians describe them as those whose inner field already carries enough stability to remain within the new frequency. For these people, the shift begins to affect ordinary life. Their relationship with time changes. Their perception becomes sharper. They feel that certain places carry a completely different atmosphere, and they start recognizing people who seem to operate from the same field. What once felt like brief spiritual experiences begins to become their normal state. This is one of the strongest parts of the transmission because it explains why the separation does not happen all at once. The event raises the planetary field, then each person moves according to what they can sustain. Some establish themselves within the higher Earth almost immediately. Others continue within a denser version of reality because that frequency still matches the level of consciousness they are holding. The Arcturians do not describe this lower frequency experience as frozen. People within it continue evolving. They continue receiving the rising planetary current. Their lives continue giving them opportunities to change frequency. The difference is that their reality stays organized around a denser band until their inner state genuinely shifts. This is why the message places so much emphasis on resonance. Nobody enters a higher reality through words or spiritual identity. The vibration has to become stable enough for that reality to respond. If you feel called to strengthen and protect your energetic field during this transition, the Arcturian Shield is available through the link in the description. From there, the transmission moves into what many people call the timeline split. The Arcturians describe it as a gradual separation of lived reality. It begins through differences in inner response. Then, perception changes. Eventually, people build lives inside increasingly different energetic fields. At first, these realities overlap heavily. People can still communicate and interact. Over time, the distance becomes more obvious because each field develops its own continuity. This gives another important key. The separation is not simply about people disagreeing with one another. It reaches much deeper than opinion. The Arcturians are saying that consciousness itself is organizing experience into distinct bands. As resonance becomes stronger, some paths stop feeling available. Certain relationships naturally disappear from someone's life. Entire ways of living begin to feel distant because the person no longer carries the frequency that once connected them to those experiences. This is also why the message says some people can still perceive the lower field after entering the higher one. There is a transitional stage where the different ranges remain close enough for contact. Those already stabilized in the higher frequency can still understand what others are going through. They can still communicate across that gap. As the planetary separation develops, the energetic distance becomes stronger and each reality becomes more self-contained. The deepest part of the message comes near the end. Eventually, everyone moves according to their own vibration. The Arcturians describe this as the fundamental law behind the entire transition. The event provides the planetary acceleration, and the individual frequency determines the destination. The world someone experiences becomes increasingly aligned with what they have become internally. This also changes how we understand the current collective instability. From inside the Arcturian perspective, the fragmentation we see around us is connected to a much larger reorganization of consciousness. People are becoming less able to remain inside realities they no longer resonate with. Old environments lose their pull. Old identities weaken. The gap between different states of consciousness becomes easier to notice because the planetary field is amplifying those differences. The message, therefore, brings the entire process back to one simple principle. Earth rises first. Humanity responds individually. A higher Earth becomes accessible as consciousness reaches its frequency. Some people enter quickly, others continue within a denser experience, and the separation keeps developing until each person is living inside the reality that matches their own vibration. That is the deepest meaning of this transmission. The event is the trigger, and resonance is the mechanism that determines what comes after it. The Arcturians are describing a planetary shift where consciousness becomes the real dividing line between different versions of Earth. The direction of your experience increasingly reflects the frequency you're able to hold. Thank you for listening to this message. If this message spoke to what you are feeling right now and you want deeper energetic support, the Arcturian Light Shield Complete Bundle is available through the link below. It was created for protection, stabilization, and integration during intense energetic windows. Inside, you receive the Arcturian Light Shield activation, its anchoring seal, the light language mantra audio, 10 guided integration transmissions, and the consolidation mantra. This is for those who feel these shifts strongly and want a structured way to stay centered while the energies continue moving through. See you very soon. Om